All right. Consciousness is the deepest part of the mind, the sea of being of the creator. Access to it is needed to play the game of life well. When I was first addicted to alcohol, addicted to drugs for multiple decades, starting with alcohol, then cannabis, then alcohol abuse, then harder drugs. During that whole time, I didn't have access to much consciousness. I was what you would call really low consciousness, often in emotions and states of being like shame, a lot of fear, anger, pride, jealousy, fight or flight, all those really survival emotions and traits. And I was very unaware. So I knew that I was addicted to alcohol and other things at times. That was about my awareness of it. I was like, I knew I had a problem. I knew to try AA, and that's about it. My mind had not been expanded in conscious wise. So I was using drugs and alcohol to try to expand my consciousness. And without consciousness, we come to our game board on a daily basis with faulty and incomplete information. That means where that really comes into hand is one specific type of decision. So if you have just your intellect, remember the intellect is the mind of the body. You could call it your biocomputer. So if that's all that you have, and you don't have consciousness every day, then you're stuck with your physical senses. You just don't have access to universal intelligence. So when it comes to neutral decisions, what's a neutral decision? What should I wear today? Which of these two healthy breakfasts should I have? A smoothie or, some eggs and 100% sprouted wheat toast or something like that. So when it comes to those kind of really neutral, not really important decisions, the intellect, the biocomputer does just fine. It's when it comes to the more difficult decisions that we have to make in life. If we rely on the biocomputer, intellect, mind of the body to make decisions like that time and time again, we're going to be ending up in the times that we're in the culture that most of us are in, when we're cut off from that consciousness. And not even just a little bit of consciousness. The more, the better. The people that succeed in AA, they do this too. The steps, the 12 steps are a process that helps people, some people, elevate their consciousness through meditation and surrender to the creator and all that type of stuff. So you can do it with the 12 steps. You can do it with a religion. You can do it just with spiritual growth and your own personal seeking. But I view it as the higher your consciousness goes, the more access. Remember, it comes into our energy pipeline down at the first energy circuit, the bottom of our spine, and to the degree that we're unblocked in those first 3 circuits of consciousness. Those first 3 prismatic, radiating consciousness centers, energy centers that can actually crystallize if we get lots of energy, keep it unblocked. Then over time, we get more and more consciousness up higher and up higher, and then it starts to crystallize in the green. If you keep going higher, crystallize in the blue. The goal is, if you really want to kick ass in life here on Earth, to develop what's called the blue-green center. That's when the 5th circuit and the 4th circuit, blue and green, wisdom and unconditional love, you get them so activated and then balanced that they kind of become one, and that's what you're leading with in life, with love, wisdom. The energy body has been alleged to weigh about 20 grams. That was done by fringe scientists collaborated from the USA and Russia. They haven't proven it, but I think nowadays they're getting pretty close to proving all sorts of things. Matter of fact, if you're really interested in the abilities of humans, watch this fairly new documentary called, I think it's called Superhuman. On that, some of the craziest stuff you've ever seen happens. There's these schools where kids and also adults go, where they have these 100% complete blackout masks. So you put it all around your head, and legit, there's no visible light coming in. So you're totally blind. And guess what? You see video footage of these kids and these other participants in these programs, there's more than one, going around grocery stores with these blackout devices on. Someone's like, where's this box of cereal? And then they'll walk down the aisle and they'll point right to it. Well, where's this product? They'll point right to it. Why? They're not viewing with their eyes. These people are training them how to view things 360 degrees with their consciousness. It's so, you absolutely have to see it to believe it, or I did. Your energy body has a significant impact on your daily life experience. If you're like one of the average people on Earth, you're going to have at least mild, if not moderate or severe, lower chakra blockage. That means that you're not getting that subtle love light energy into your fourth circuit. So you're not getting consciousness into the heart. So it's hard to feel love. It's easy to judge yourself. It's really easy to judge others. It's easy to have a negative mindset. I remember really clearly in early alcohol recovery, early drug recovery too, where I even had a diagnosable mental illness from trying to eat too healthily. Once I got into health and nutrition, the more I read about it, the more I started to kind of freak out about what I was putting in my body. So as I was just learning about nutritious foods, and because I didn't know barely anything, eventually, at first it was good, but then I let it develop into like a disorder where, oh, I can't eat that. It's not on my special diet, or, oh. So I had a really good exercise regimen and a extremely good diet and supplement regimen, but I was really unhealthy and I was miserable. It's because all that fear, guess what? I wasn't feeding my energy pipeline. I was feeding my body with macronutrients, micronutrients, sunlight, exercise, sleep. But back then I wasn't getting consciousness. When I first quit, I found Tony Robbins. So after learning a bunch of stuff from him, he had a couple mystical things that he would talk about, but not too much. It was mostly psychosocial, a little bit of spiritual. He has got more spiritual over the decades, but back then not so much, or not nearly as much. But right after Tony Robbins, the next person that I started to devour their books and their other products was Dr. Wayne Dyer. And the first book that I read by him was called Wishes Fulfilled. I highly recommend that, by the way. And it's all about mastering the art of manifesting. Mystical. You can think of words like spiritual, religious, allegorical, symbolic, spiritually allegorical, transcending human understanding, relating to ancient religious mysteries or other occult esoteric rites. So many of these words have really high vibrations, inspiring a sense of spiritual mystery, awe, and fascination, concerned with the soul or the spirit rather than with material things. All right, I grew up in a very mystical household. Go in the time machine of your mind and imagine back to 1979. In 1979, transport your consciousness to Miami, Florida, at an outdoor, big, huge event, EVENT. Thousands of people, and they were all painted all these different brilliant colors, reds and greens and yellows and blues and oranges, like pretty much all the colors of the rainbow. And so all these people were kind of hippie looking, and they were all these colors on their skin and on their clothes, dancing around. So that's a picture from when I was like 1 or 2 days old. My mom is holding me. I'm 1 or 2 days old, and they're at this meditation event with their spiritual guru, Prem Rawat from India. And yeah, they have all these machines where they're, spraying the people with water and with all these colors because it's hot as July 22nd or 3rd, so it's all really hot out. And then, so I was born in Miami, but then when I was 2 days old, I got on an airplane on my mom's lap, flew all the way to San Diego, and then they raised me here, and they were total hippies. And so from when I was born until I moved out, I lived in a total mystical household, where eventually in the 80s, they started a natural healing school on herbs, meditation, energy healing, and a bunch of other mystical things. All right, after those Wayne Dyer books, which I highly recommend, he's one of the best authors ever for spiritual and psychological integration, very helpful. He had one of the best editors too, so the books are really nice. But I liked Wishes Fulfilled, Power of Intention, and then there's a spiritual solution for everything. And Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. Those were four of my favorite. So anyways, I've started to add more mystical tools, started to meditate, do Qigong, Tai Chi, that type of stuff. Also, the same mentor that I had that trained me on food healing and Qigong, he also introduced me to the music of David Helpling. David Helpling has a very small YouTube channel. He might not even have 2,000 subscribers, but his music's really mystical. It's this kind of delayed, it's like underwater, delayed, mystical, Neptune guitar, instrumental type stuff. And I used to make David Helpling mixes back then with my, I guess it was an iPod or an iShuffle, something like that. And then I would do Qigong routines in nature or in my home, listening to his music with the earbuds in. Really helps you to get into a spiritual state, his music. Wayne Dyer says, you aren't your work, your accomplishments, your possessions, your home, your family, your anything. You're a creation of your source, dressed in a physical human body, intended to experience and enjoy life on earth. Until you transcend the ego, you can do nothing but add to the insanity of the world. When you're connected to the power of intention, everywhere you go and everyone you meet is affected by you and the energy you radiate. What's he talking about right there? The service or the ministry of being. That's what he's talking about. Live and let your light shine, your vibration. Yep, he had that stuff down. All right, mystical tool number 1, meditation. I'm sure you've heard of it before. You might not have known. Doesn't have to be done well to work. There's sometimes when I meditate and it's like lousy. And at this point, I've done it for decades, and there's still some times where it feels like it might be the first time I've ever meditated. It's still beneficial no matter what. There's many different types of meditation. Typical is passive, clearing of the mind, where you're focused on the in-breath and the out-breath. A lot of people like to do mantra or mantram meditations where you have a specific mantra that you either say internally. Some people will even hum it. Speaking of Wayne Dyer, he actually loved something called japa meditation. I think that's with a J-A-P-A. And in fact, when I was 33-ish or 34, undergoing my studies and training to get certified in the Qigong and the food healing, one of the students that was learning and trying to get certified with me, her name was Mia, and she was probably about 50 years old, but she looked like she was maybe 40 at the oldest. I couldn't believe it when she told me how old she was. But anyway, she was really smart, really good at Qigong. And so back then I wanted to learn how to become an entrepreneur. I think at the time I was still a drug and alcohol counselor at an outpatient treatment program. And I wanted to branch out to becoming an entrepreneur. This is before I even became a coach and a blogger. So I asked her if I could interview her, take like 20 minutes. And I just wanted to know what some of the best books she would recommend are, other types of resources, classes, seminars, etc. And she was telling me that she really liked japa meditation. And I tried it before, and it's really awesome, actually. Here's some of the characteristics and benefits of meditation. It's quiet time to listen or even communicate with the Creator. Also a way of connecting with the deeper self or the soul through intuition. It's a practice that boosts your spiritual grace, helps bring data from the subconscious to the conscious mind. That's one of the best tools of meditation is the more you meditate, the more you find that subconscious things do come to your conscious awareness. It might not happen during the meditation. It might happen later on in the day, or it might happen in a dream. Actually, you might get some type of message. So it has a really cumulative effect as well. Oh, it can also bring you into a deep sense of timelessness. That's one of my favorite things. Always being according to the clock. And luckily nowadays I don't have to punch a time clock like I did when I was an alcohol and drug counselor. But still, meditating or even doing a contemplation walk or a meditative walk in nature, I like that so much because it helps me to not think about what time it is and not even think about time. Get into timelessness. Can assist you to seek your purpose, gives your mind a break from thinking so it recharges. That's why even if you don't do meditation well, you still get the benefits because just the act of trying to shut your mind off, even if you still keep thinking of things, you get better at it over time and you are giving your mind breaks. This is really important. If you're taking notes, write this down. As we move forward from this moment onward, it's like it today and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. The amount of things that are competing for your attention, my attention, not Papay's attention, human attention. It's just going to be more and more competitive with how advanced AI is going to get, is already, and is going to get. I think technology is just going to become more and more addicting content and, watching entertaining content, all that type of stuff, and the interactiveness of it, etc. Right now, make it like an area of mastery of your life to have an anti-distraction lifestyle, an indistractable lifestyle. I read a book many years ago when it first came out called Indistractable. And it was one of the most helpful and kick-ass books I've ever read. And it was a short book. It took me like a day or two. It was revelational. It was epiphany after epiphany, light bulb moment after light bulb moment. Indistractable. What an awesome book. Not long after that, I read another semi-life-changing book called Essentialism. So that's different than minimalism. It's like a step up from minimalism. I haven't ever gone full minimalism, but essentialism is I only have all of my absolute essentials in my life. One of the main reasons is as a moderate empath and a moderate HSP, highly sensitive person, so sensory processing sensitivity, as that I have to only have one social media, which is Facebook. I barely have probably 100 friends or something, and I barely do that type of stuff on there. And then my home, I have it very, very minimal essential as well. And the same with my social group. Because before I didn't think to do that type of stuff. I tried to live my life like everyone else, like normal people. And only about 15 to 20% of humans are empaths or HSPs. So yeah, optimizing my lifestyle for having those sensitivity traits has been paramount. Meditation's a passive form of learning, feeds your faith and understanding. It's a form of tabernacling with the Creator. It's one of my favorite words. It means resting. It's like you're residing inside the Creator, tabernacling with the Creator. It's like you're resting within, nurtured and protected. The inner world is so vast, so fun to explore. One of the best preventative measures against burnout, too. Oftentimes when there's CEOs and executives and these top business people or these top producers in the world that are just super busy, like Elon Musk, people like that, if they don't have some type of, it doesn't even have to be meditation, but if they don't have some type of effective preventative measure for burnout, then burnout usually happens. It's not a matter of if, but when. This is one of my favorite meditation teachers, and I have a lot. Carla Ruckert says, when we start to meditate, we will find all of our own secrets out in front of ourselves, all the places where we are habitually holding tension in our bodies, all the repetitive thoughts and fears and pent-up emotions, all the little quirks of mind and manner that we normally miss because we are in motion. That's what happened when we all did 2 weeks to flatten the curve. We all began to meditate, not even going into an official meditation, but we had all been or most of us had been go for so long that when everything stopped, that's when all these things came to mind. At least they did for me. She continues, it may take us a year or more to wade through the various waters we have puddled for ourselves as a moat between our castle wall selves and the seemingly inner world that awaits us beyond the waters of consciousness. This inner world is actually as vast and trackless an ocean as any outer sea. It is no wonder that the meditator can feel she is awash and making no headway at all. Simple persistence with this practice works wonders. It may be difficult to keep our spirits up if the practice does not take it first, in our subjective opinion. It seems so logical to evaluate our progress. We want to take our spiritual temperature, to see how much better we might be doing than previously. This is never a useful idea. We will always be wrong about ourselves, for we cannot see ourselves from the inside out. Avoid discouragement and value persistence itself and our own desire to evolve spiritually. That will bring the fruits of meditation to us over time. Contemplation, the act of looking thoughtfully at something for a long time, a deep, reflective, and sustained thought process. Contemplation can be wonderful, and contemplation can be dreadful. I felt euphoric in contemplation, and I felt dysphoric. Meditating is diving into silence. Contemplating is also diving, but with assistance. Here's some characteristics of contemplation. It's the process of consideration in a meditative state, in a alpha and theta brainwave state, or in a alpha and or theta brainwave state. Contemplating through crises in life helps you process an infinite series of realizations that give you much better points of view, more richer and fuller understandings of reality. And then the more that you really contemplate things, and I've done, when it comes to all this spiritual study, I've probably done more than 2,000 hours, probably with addiction stuff, probably more than 8,000 hours. Contemplation is one of the best tools for examining your emotions. One of my weakest skills ever is noticing and examining emotions. I've always been, I think it's part of my personality type. And I think in the Myers-Briggs, I'm an INTP, or one time I got INTJ too, but most of the test INTP. And so, yeah, that personality type is generally, that's what it says. It's like doesn't handle or not able to understand emotions or label them very well. And so thus contemplation can be very helpful. Here's another just beautiful long quote. Such beautiful writers here. This is from Karen Pekarsik. This is her favorite form of contemplation because there's so many ways to contemplate. Her form is a morning hour walk as part of her morning routine. Where she lives, there's this totally immersed in nature place, kind of hidden. And I've been on hikes like that, not too far from here, but you got to know where to find them, where it just feels like you're in this magical place. Even in the past, it can even feel in some of these spots in nature, it can feel like you're 100 years in the past. But then an airplane goes over and you're shocked back into reality. So she loves the nature and observing herself as part of all the living nature. It's really cool. My morning walk through nature is my second most cherished time of the day. I spend an hour walking in nature, observing life around me, and finding that same life abiding within me. This is the time I take to further connect with my inner self, that little inner voice who usually cannot be heard above the noise of the rush of the day. My favorite place is a bridle trail which has overgrown trees and vegetation, making it an actual forest in the midst of the city. I find the spot is a magical place for me. As soon as I step onto its winding dirt path, I become a new person. I am revitalized. I am reconnecting with the beauty of nature around me. And I am thankful I have so much beauty around me, and the time to wander through its trail, soaking up its healing energy into my hungry body. I am truly blessed to be able to take the time to meander through this magical place in my neighborhood. In the serenity of this magical forest, I am able to think clearly. I find myself detaching from my sometimes aching body, questioning mind, and up and down emotions, and becoming a living, breathing entity. Just being, living and moving in a sea of energy. Life just is during this special time. I become one with life and life becomes me. There is no hurry or worry. All is peaceful and serene. I feel a deep connection to the life energy mingling in the vegetation of the forest. I am happy to be one with the beauty of nature all around me. I take this beauty with me to cherish throughout my day, to keep me on track with my emotions, and to stay calm through my many challenges. I have something not exactly like hers, but similar, a couple of 100 feet from where I'm sitting right now. A half block down the street. It's very magical. It's a protected nature preserve called the Famosa Slough. And there's a lot of beautiful trails. They keep it up real nice. And there's a big, I wouldn't really call it a lake. It's like a wetlands, WET lands, wetlands. And there's all these different types of birds and butterflies, bees. I've seen, people walk their dogs there. There's outdoor cats that live at my condo complex, the Point Loma Tennis Club here. The kitties will walk over there. At nighttime, there'll be skunks. So just teeming with life. And when I walk there barefoot and I'm soaking in the rays of the sun, and this little beautiful birdie's on my shoulder or in my armpit. Devotion. Devotion is loyalty and love or care for someone or something. Devotion can go to the extreme, obviously. Everything can, but I think of like Jehovah's Witnesses coming, knocking on my door, and nowadays they're sending their younger, beautiful wives, and then people are letting them in. But I still won't. And then there's the Hare Krishnas too. So there can be a total fanaticism in this stuff. With devotion, look how many people in the history of human civilization have been brutally killed. Some people brutally tortured because of such devotion to a god and not having your religions and ideologies match up. So too much is not a good thing. It's a central key to also unlocking the secrets of a spiritually well-lived life, a multidimensional resource of mysticism. Devotion implies the qualities of loyalty, faithfulness, and deep affection, and it's a quality of focused love. Devotion is focused love that can be brought to bear on any aspect of the work and doings of your life. I am super devoted to serving the Creator, to my family, to my clients, and to the animals, papaya and juniper. Here's a quote on devotion to the Creator from Romy Boral. I'm in love with the Creator. I am happiest when I feel I have His undivided attention. I honor Him with thanks. I wrap myself in His love and wisdom in meditation. I call out to Him to come to me every night before I go to sleep. I yearn for Him. I call out not from my mind, but from my soul. My heart aches for my oneness with Him. I hear love songs and don't think of lovers. I think of the Creator. Now, you see, just like any woman in love, here I've gone and rambled on and on about my undying yearning for the great love in my life. Prayer. It's communicating with the Creator, found in all religions throughout all times. It helps you to harness your faculty of will. Too many people nowadays have an atrophied will, your faculty of will, your pure desire, willing something. I remember when I wanted to go to this Tony Robbins advanced seminar, 6 days long, called Date with Destiny, DWD. But it was like thousands and thousands of dollars for a ticket. And this was back when I was making $15 and 20 cents an hour at a outpatient treatment program. So I, with my will, my faculty of will, the strongest metaphysical force in the universe, the force that the Creator used to create everything, this will, free will. I willed, I'm going to make something happen. I bought a brand new journal just to dedicate brainstorming ideas on a daily basis of how I could earn the money to go to this seminar. And it was coming up in a couple months. So I didn't make that one, the one that was coming right up. But right after that one ended, one day I was thinking like, I haven't gone on Tony Robbins' website in a while. Let me go check, see if they have anything new. I was probably 34. This is probably 10 years ago. And lo and behold, guess what was on the website? On the home page. Win a free ticket to Date with Destiny by becoming one of 2 grand prize winners of our contest. And it was to write, you could either do a video or an essay. I think it was like a 2-minute video or a 1-minute video and like a 500-word essay, or maybe it was even less than 500 words. It was a short essay. I still have it somewhere. So I did the written essay. And first of all, I knew that it was my will that got that contest to be put on in the first place. And then I knew that as soon as that contest was there, I knew that it was mine. It was already won. It was a done deal. There was no question in my mind. That's how powerful of a manifester I was back in those early days when I was learning this shit. And guess what? I actually did win the grand prize. I wrote the essay, emailed it to him, and I knew I had won before I had written it, after I had written it. And then I called him maybe 2 weeks later, and I asked the guy, I said, hey, yeah, my name's Matt Finch. I entered the contest to win a ticket to Date with Destiny. Just wondering when you're going to release the names of the winners. And he goes, oh, hold on a second. What's your name? And I said, my name's Matt Finch. And he said, Matt, hold on a second. And I said, all right. 30 seconds later, Matt, you still there? Yeah, I'm here. Hey, I'm going to transfer you to someone. We have some good news. And then so the whole time I just knew. See, it was no surprise at all. And then, yeah, the guy got on the phone and congratulated me. And so the power of prayer, the power of intentions, the power of laying up the emotion, laying it up with a positive emotion, assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Powerful stuff. All right, whether or not it's helpful depends upon your intentions and your objects upon which you're praying. Probably the most common form of prayer is petitioning, asking God for things. Much more effective is to give praise and thanksgiving for all, big and small, and medium, of the gifts in your life, even for things that you normally wouldn't think of. Like, I'm grateful that I have working eyes. There's nothing, I can see. They're not as good as when I was 21 years old, but I can see really, really well. And I'm so grateful that I can see. Some popular books from back in the day, there was a series of books called Conversations with God, which were allegedly channeled books. My life might have been saved by group prayer. When I overdosed on a lethal dosage of methadone combined with Valium, and they rushed me to the hospital after giving me naloxone, putting me into instant withdrawal. I was like 1 or 2 minutes away from dying, had the EMTs knocked out there, but I still wasn't safe because when I got to the hospital, I had a lung infection, pneumonia, and all sorts of other stuff. They had to put me in a medically induced coma because I was so messed up. I was totally addicted to drugs and alcohol, malnourished. So my parents and family and lots of friends, I guess, I don't know how many people, but I think it was dozens and dozens of people were all praying for me. And I made a miraculous turnaround. This is one of my favorite prayers. This is probably one of the highest vibration prayers there is too. Ho'oponopono prayer. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Ho'oponopono means to make right. It's a process of bringing harmony to yourself, others that you've may or may not have harmed, and the world around you. When I go by myself or when I take papaya on walks, I'll do this. I won't say it aloud, but internally, I will do this as an internal mantra. I'll just repeat it and I'll aim it at myself. I'll aim it at papaya. Sometimes I'll think about my daughter. Sometimes I'll think about ex-girlfriends, and I'll do this prayer. And sometimes all I need to do is think it internally once. And I kid you not, that subtle energy going up the pipeline, I instantly start feeling it right here. And then it just like all consumes me and it'll just go like crazy. So, and you can actually fake it until you make it too. For example, if you don't feel sorry or I love you, or, because you could be in a really bad mood, but just even saying it and repeating it can kind of prepare a space for you to actually develop the feeling to actually really mean it, deeply mean it. It's verbalizing regret, forgiveness, gratitude, and love. I swear this can quantum leap you. Here's how it works. It's like a perfect apology, perfect forgiveness, perfect repentance and gratitude and unconditional love. I'm sorry is an expression of remorse and acknowledgement of your part in creating negative situations. It's like taking responsibility. It's cleaning up in your side of the street. Please forgive me means you're seeking forgiveness from others, from yourself. Like I said, you could direct it at yourself, at others. It could just be general, etc. And it's about releasing guilt and allowing yourself to move forward. Thank you is about expressing gratitude. I love you is just closing the mantra with unconditional love. Not just for others, but for yourself and for the whole cosmos. We got tuning. Tuning a guitar and tuning a piano is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about tuning being an extension of prayer in your everyday living. Here's what Carla Ruckert says about it. Again, she's the meditation teacher. The mentality behind it, tuning, is of a vision of the world as a place in which it is the play of a benign, wise destiny and a divine energy that creates all things happening to us at this sacred moment. When we have begun to believe that our world is such a magical place, a place we can trust to be giving us the appropriate lessons, even if they do not seem so at the time, then we may form the desire to respond to the everyday happenings of the world in a more tuned fashion. Here's how I tune myself on a daily basis, and my condo, and papaya too. I do a 4-prayer combination as part of my morning routine. I do the Lord's Prayer, and I don't just like repeat it and get it over with. There's times that I've done that, but that's very atypical because I know that's a waste. It's a waste. So I usually really feel into it. I do the Lord's Prayer, followed by the AA 3rd step prayer, followed by the Serenity Prayer, followed by the Ho'oponopono prayer. And then each time I eat anything, even a snack, I give praise to the Creator. Usually, but not always, when I walk, I'll tune my vibration as much as I can to things like love, gratitude, mindfulness. Sometimes I'll need to tune to courage if I'm feeling fear. Sometimes I'll need to tune to equanimity if I'm taking things too personally. Yeah, so think of tuning as tuning your mind, body, spirit complex and your energy pipeline to whatever you specifically want to tune to. Typically these states of love and gratitude and inner peace and flow and ease and creativity, ... All right, and then I also burn sacred smoke and obviously candles, and I burn incense and I diffuse essential oils as a way to tune my living environment. There's 4 mystical tuning resources. Number 1, metaphysical cleansing bath. Here's some ideas: pink Himalayan salt, Epsom salt, organic essential oils, CBD, etc. Sacred smoke home cleanse. I use white sage and Palo Santos. I know there's other things too. Well, I also use lots of different essential oils, but only when the kitten's not here. 3, mealtime Thanksgiving praise. This is something that I just didn't grow up with. I guess my mom did sometimes, like if we had a special dinner like Thanksgiving or something, but typically we never did this type of stuff, giving Thanksgiving and praise, just on special occasions. Nowadays in my life, and for many years now, every time I eat anything, even a snack, I'm giving Thanksgiving and praise. And then timer app. This is a way that you could systematize your tuning throughout the day. You could set an alarm or timer on your phone for every hour or every 3 hours, every 30 minutes, twice a day. Really do whatever you want. You could make set the alarm to a unique sound or a custom song. And then when that sound or bell or tone or song goes off, then you could use that as an anchor to go into a state, say for instance, of courage or inner peace, or whatever you're trying to work on, whatever you're trying to tune to. That's actually proven such an effective method. This is Pavlovian conditioning and neuro-linguistic programming. Ivan Pavlov conditioned those dogs to salivate just from ringing the bell. So even if no food came, as long as they heard the bell, they'd salivate. Well, you can do the same thing to get yourself through a tone or through a song to go into a different state of beingness. Just like that. Think about it. Think about certain songs. Right now, there's certain songs that if I listen to, it tunes me to a very unique and certain state. That's how our human kind of system works. We're getting tuned, whether we like it or not, by all sorts of stuff, but we can intentionally, consciously, strategically, and consistently tune ourselves optimally. Grand finale, last but not least, living in the moment, aka having present moment awareness, living in the present, and synchronicity. Living in the moment means focusing on now, not 1 minute from now, not a day from now, not tomorrow morning, but right now. And the more you can lock in to the present moment, the more presence that you actually have. And the more present that you are in the present moment, the more it's like you're like Neo in the Matrix, where you can see the zeros and the ones, and you can bend the spoon and you can dodge the bullets. When you have that state of not just present moment awareness, but embodied presence with high state of consciousness in the now, you're not going to make impulsive decisions. You're going to make the most loving and wise and intelligent, just the best decisions. Why? Because you're not going to be thinking with the physical senses in your biocomputer of your body. You're going to be thinking with the mind of your heart, the consciousness of spirit. Synchronicity is the simultaneous occurrence of events that appear significantly related, but you're not able to discern any causation of them coming together like that. I find that the more tuned I am to a high vibration, the more synchronous, and the more I'm giving thanksgiving and praise all throughout the day, literally, the more synchronicities are happening. When you first start playing with this type of stuff, synchronicity, some people can get addicted to it, actually. This goes with too much of anything can be bad. Too much water, too much healthy food, too much sunlight, too much of good things can be bad. It's the same when you go after this synchronicity too much, which I have done in the past, not like to the extreme hardcore, but it was definitely imbalanced. You can be kind of overdoing it because it can give you a high. It can give you a spiritual, psychological, emotional high. Some synchronicities can be just so gnarly that you'll be blown away for a week or longer, for a month or longer. Some synchronicities or some synchronicity chains. What often people will notice is when you get into that really spiritual flow state for an extended period of time during a day, you might just have synchronicity after synchronicity popping off left and right, where you're like trying not to miss them all because there's so many. There's the numerical synchronicity thing. A lot of people will find the synchronicity with numbers, myself included. The 444 particularly. I saw that number a bunch. From the age of 23 onward, 444 has been my main synchronicity number. Look at synchronicities as murmurs from spirit, and you can sense into them. And to the degree that you're in that flow state, in that peaceful clarity state, you'll be able to notice these things. Here's an extended James Redfield quote on synchronicity. I think you'll like this. And he's a really cool author. As we blossom or awaken, we begin to notice there is a force in the world that seems to be operating and leading us into a certain destiny. And it's very much a kind of detective effort on our own part to figure out what these things mean. The synchronicity is essentially a meaningful coincidence that brings us information at just the right time. While leading us forward, it also feels very inspiring and destined in a way. It feels like we're on a path of unfolding in our own personal evolution. Here's what Shannon L. Alder says about the present moment. The true definition of mental illness is when the majority of your time is spent in the past or future, but rarely living in the realism of now. Deepak Chopra says, synchronicity is God sending us messages anonymously. This is a present moment quote. Life is a dance. Mindfulness is witnessing that dance. Wendy C. Ortiz says synchronicities fall under the magic heading to me